It is Sunday morning, and you know what that means. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, everybody. It's go time in the fantasy football playoffs, in the real-life NFL. Myles Garrett dropping some truth bombs. We're going to get into that big show coming up right now on the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara. The sickest Cleveland Browns podcast.
Chubb runs, he's to the 10, 15, he's to the 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. There goes Chubb, he's to the 30, 20, 10, 5, touchdown, Chubba Lubba Hub.
It's gonna be sick.
Welcome, everybody. Hello. Last Sick Pod before Christmas. Well, Sunday one. We'll do one early in the week, but this is a big one because this is week 16. We're ready to cook. I'm feeling festive. Look at that shirt. Come on. Right? Macho Man and the Hulkster brother getting ready for the holiday season. This is my ugliest of ugly holiday sweaters. How do you guys like it? Huh? That's right. I got it last year off of some like Instagram ad. And I'm pretty sure if it gets like washed or handled too much, it will fall apart. But it is delightful. So I'm liking that. Hope you guys like it. We're ready to go today, man. Because it is week 16. I had a couple games yesterday. I was torn because I enjoyed the Steelers losing and getting embarrassed a little bit, pick 6 by the Ravens. But I also hate the Ravens. So that didn't make me feel good. I was hoping for a tie or something. I don't know. Also, look at what the Sick Podcast team gave to me. Got it in the mail after the Canada Post strike off. Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara mug. How about it? Looking good. That'll go up on the set. We got our buddy Griff Bordignon on with us in a few minutes' time, back to go over some fantasy football tips and plays. You want your fantasy football questions answered for the playoffs? Crunch time. Get them in. Use hashtag Ask Andy. Now, you can jump in the live chat here on YouTube, where you should subscribe, put the notifications on, share it as well. Get your buddies in here. Love the live chat. Also on X on Twitter, at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81, and at AndyMCSport on Instagram. Hashtag Ask Andy. We'll have an NFL parlay party. Get to our sick picks as well. And the fantasy football hashtag Ask Andy brought to you by Stadium Mustard. We'll get to that in a little bit as also. So a little Browns talk today. All right. Also, I got to say before we get to the Browns, the negative stuff. How about them Buckeyes? Give me a little O-H-I-O. Putting the boots to Tennessee. And we're still smarting a bit off of that Michigan game. And, you know, it's a rivalry game. That's going to be something you can address in the future. But a lot of that can be erased if you go out and win a damn national championship. Now, what's so interesting is that the Will Howard experience with the Buckeyes, like you have a game like yesterday where that dude drops 2 dimes, absolutely gorgeously placed footballs to Jeremiah Smith, who whenever that guy decides to come out, that's a top 3 pick in the NFL draft. My goodness. Can the Browns get him, please? He's not coming out this year, unfortunately, but like cousin of Geno Smith, this guy is just a machine. And the placement by Will Howard, like, it got me thinking again, okay, you got Quinn Ewers probably going back to school, Drew Aller's going back to school. If you're the Browns, like, where's Will Howard going to go in the NFL draft? Where's his projection? 3rd round-ish? We'll have a lot of time to get into the draft positioning and stuff. But from my looking at him, his ups and downs, I would guess kind of a 3rd round pick. The elite traits on that guy with the arm talent and placement, now you got a lot of issues too. But that is tantalizing enough to me. If I'm Cleveland, put a 3rd round pick on this guy who's a big-bodied, big-armed dude who can chuck it. Okay? Why not? Doesn't have to start right away, of course. But to see what you have, come on. Looks good. Congrats to the Buckeyes. Grant's in the chat. Hey, good morning, Andy. Woke up feeling great today. All because those Buckeyes are whooping Tennessee. And how about a little extra good feeling for Browns fans? Because not only do the Buckeyes whoop Tennessee, but that's Jimmy Haslam and Dee Haslam, Browns owners. That's their team. That's their. So it's already, take that, Jimmy. You put us through hell in the NFL? How you like that? Now you're Volunteers. One of the worst names in sports. Scared of a volunteer. Terrible. He's out. Grant says for Will Howard, I think he's a second rounder. I feel as the offensive play calling in Columbus holds him back at times. I do too, which is confusing to me because Chip Kelly being the offensive coordinator with Ryan Day, I'm like, Chip Kelly made his bones in college football being creative, and especially in that Michigan game. It was so bland, so plain. So second rounder, and with the quarterbacks who are not coming out, maybe Will Howard does jump up that high. To be honest, with how the quarterback position is in Cleveland, I might spend a second rounder on him. Let's get to the Myles Garrett comments, okay? To transition off of that. With how bad it is, do you not need some sort of hope? Now, that's not going to be your instant solution, but it can be part of it. And Myles Garrett, bravo, Myles Garrett, speaking up for the people and for himself. Y'all have read it. You've all seen it. He has not spoken this way. This is an urgency. This is a message being sent directly to Browns ownership in that front office. We're not bleeping around anymore, is what Myles Garrett's saying. We're not screwing around. He never mentioned Deshaun Watson by name. Is that a mistake? Just mentioned DTR. Is that because DTR is starting this week? Doesn't want to bring up what? I don't know. We can read between the lines. Myles, from all accounts, seems to be a very thoughtful, well-planned out person. So I think there is some meaning to his words and what he says or doesn't say. And what he didn't say was quite loud as well. He said he wants whatever's going to be done with the running game, he brought up. With the defense, of course, but the running game as well. Myles isn't stupid, and this defense knows. Now, this defense isn't where it was last year, but the offense is far from what it was either under Joe Flacco. So you have the defense, again, with Kansas City. If you fancy yourself a serious playoff team, you have to score over 21 points. If you had an offense that could hit and was functional, you could have beaten the Chiefs last week. You could have won 5, 6, 7 more games this year. But you didn't. Myles recognizes that and says, I'm not interested in a rebuild. Myles, me neither. I'm not interested in a rebuild either. Haslam, Andrew Berry, the front office, they don't give a crap what the fans think. And at some points, that's good. But they don't care. They don't care about the PR. But maybe they care about their future Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett, who said he wants to be in Cleveland, but doesn't want to rebuild and would be open to leaving. Now, remember, he has some leverage here because the Browns have to at some point restructure his deal again to ease up some cap space because they kicked it down the road. So they have to extend him. Myles doesn't have to agree to that. He doesn't have to agree. He has some power with that. And he's saying, I want to win now. I want to win now here. I want to win now in Cleveland. I want to win. Fans are saying the same thing. Are you going to let your future Hall of Famer walk away or trade him because of your process? You dumb bastards. You stupidest dumb people I've ever seen. You better listen to Myles Garrett. You want a fan revolt, Jimmy, Andrew Berry. Maybe you don't care because you're all smarter than everybody. Stupidest smart people ever. How smart are you compared to the league? You're 3-11, you idiots. Look at you. Pathetic. And Myles Garrett's had enough, and so have I, and so have Browns Nation. Myles has to be the guy to send that message, and maybe that gets through. I hope it is. I hope that can be the catalyst. Because if the players say, the key is saying, I want to be here. I want to win here. I don't want out. I want to win here, but I want to win now. Not another stupid grifter DePodesta rebuild. Terrible. Anyway, I loved what Myles said and it got me all riled up all week. We'll talk a little more Browns Bengals in a little bit. The game itself doesn't matter for the Browns. Now, you get the bonus of eliminating officially the Bengals' slim playoff hopes. If you can beat them, they have to win their last 3, and then 3 or 4 other things have to happen. But if the Browns can do that, you get a good feeling. Will it affect the draft position? And we'll maybe regret that a little bit? Maybe. Can I get one more win, please? We've had some Christmas miracles before in Cleveland. The blocked field goal to win a game in the 1-15 season. Joe Burrow's going to be pissed, dude. He's mad. Joe Burrow is mad. Let's make him madder. Come on, Myles. Get the career 100 sack. Let's go. That's right, Grant. I was talking to Grant yesterday. I just went off. I'm like, I was using a little more coarse language than I can on the podcast. But holy cow, just stupid, just infuriating that you make your future Hall of Famer come to this point. You make him come to this point to have to say, I want to win. Do you want to win? Players asking the franchise if they want to win, if they are, with these players in their prime, wasting his career. I don't blame Myles for a second. Good for him. Let's go. And let's go beat the Bengals. All right. He's been waiting long enough. Let's bring in our guy, host of YWC Talk, Griff Bordignon. He is joining us on the Stadium Mustard Hotline, baby. That's right.
I don't have my stadium.
Right?
Yeah.
You're ready for some Stadium Mustard takes from ballparks to backyards, everywhere in between. Stadium Mustard, smooth but spicy mustard, rich in taste and tradition. Stadium Mustard is real and organic, not manufactured. You can get it in Cleveland Brown Stadium, Huntington Bank Field, all over Ohio, Canada, U.S. Stadium Mustard. And Griff always brings the Stadium Mustard heat for his takes too. Slap some on today, baby, right?
I did. Last few weeks I've been in the comments, but now I'm here live talking to you.
There you go, buddy. Good to have you back on. Thank you very much. How do you like the sweater? I know you're a wrestling guy. You appreciate it?
Well, just bring in the hand. We'll just bring in.
Yeah. Wait, I got the other way. There we go. We got it. There.
That's what I like about it. I don't have one, so I went with my salute to service sweater because I don't have I want to stick with football for today. But like you, I'm in the same predicament where it's a bad season and we're facing a rival that's you're trying to crush playoff hopes. I'm trying to crush number 1 seed hopes. So yeah, we'll see how today goes.
And maybe one day our teams will be able to get back to number 1 seed hopes. Well, your team back to it, my team actually to it.
Yeah, well, my team too. Everyone's just like right now, like we don't feel bad for you, but at the same time too, I'm just like, I'm just chilling. I'm chilling. Yeah, you got our quarterback. That's all I can ask for. You've
got your quarterback. You've got your zillion titles to look finally back on. I got nothing, Griff. I got Myles Garrett freaking out, and I love it. God. All right. Let's look at some of this fantasy football news. You can get your questions in again on X at AndyMC81 at Mr. Griff B. Use hashtag Ask Andy. Get those fantasy questions in. There we go. And yes, you can jump in the chat as well with any fantasy football playoff talk because we're looking at this. And remember, of course, that we had a couple games yesterday that are now in the book. So if you have some questionable guys or whatever, there's less options going today. I want to start here. What do you make and what is your strategy if you own Atlanta Falcons players? Because Griff, it is Michael Penix Jr. time. And literally, we have zero idea what to expect. We can think, we can anticipate. We got nada. We got nothing to go by, and it's the fantasy playoffs, and you got some heavy hitters potentially.
So there's 2 players I would still buy stock into, potentially 3. One is Bijan. Bijan this year has truly established himself as not him, but he's established himself as the true RB1 in Atlanta. I know Tyler Algier is there too, but he's now the nice compliment.
Sure.
Zach Robinson's gotten in there and he uses them to his full advantages. And Bijan's almost at 1,500 rush and receive yards. Against the sloppy New York defense, it's what's going to happen. The other 2, Drake London and Darnell Mooney. They're 2 guys that look, they're not going to be flashes in the pans, but if you're really in that sticky predicament of like, if you have either, or like for myself, I have Drake London in the league, but I like I said to you, he was always my watch out for him kind of guy going back to August. So it's those 3 guys right there because 1, I am not a child and I don't like a lot of kids who like this time of year is about believing. Don't believe in Kyle Pitts. Believe in Santa Claus. Don't believe in Kyle Pitts. But it's not so much about Penix's ability, and we'll also talk about this game and the point spread coming on later. But it's the fact that it's the New York Giants, and I think Penix is going to look good this week. It's next week I'd be wary of Atlanta players when people get film on Penix.
Right. And here's the other part too, Griff. We don't know what the offensive game plan is going to be with Penix Jr. in it. Is it going to be, and I think Bijan, this could benefit him even more in a fantastic year. Is it going to be you're going to have Penix throw the ball 8 times and Bijan run it all the time? Is it going to be a mix? Is it going to be you're letting Penix sling it? We don't know. Yeah. That's the big question. But I like your thinking there. Yeah, Bijan's a set and forget. I don't care if there's no quarterback. You still have Bijan do it. That's going to be very. At least Griffith gives a reason to watch what would otherwise be a horrific game to pay attention to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the biggest thing here because you have an Atlanta team that's like all Atlanta really has to do is just tie the Buccaneers in record. They have to hope the Buccaneers lose another one down the stretch, which they're playing in a really big game tonight. That's actually a game I'm looking forward to later. But with Atlanta, they still got a lot on the line because for them, it's you got to win for the South. It's either them or Tampa's making the playoffs. One's going to get in and get in the 4 seed. One of them's going to be sitting at home contemplating what went wrong. And because there's a lot of people out there who were like, Atlanta's going to win the division. They're going to run away with it. I was always on the Buccaneers from the start because of your former guy, progressive living at First
Old
Center,
Bake.
Cleveland Brown Stadium. But I always said to them, I'm like, Tampa's still Tampa. Their defense is horrendous. But I really like what they've got going offensively. But then going back to the Atlanta Falcons point now, I just look at it as it's the Giants. The Giants have no one. The Giants have mailed it in. They're that team where I'm just like, okay, show us something. They're not showing us anything. They just want to get to next offseason, and they're basically going to be in this whole predicament now of like, do we fire people? What do we do? We're going to be bringing in a new quarterback. So if you're a Giants fan, you got to look forward to a few years of just misery again.
If I'm New York, get rid of that GM. If you want to get rid of the head coach too, I think Dable still has a lot of potential, but that GM's it. He's whacked. For Tampa Bay, you brought it up. How about, and this guy's becoming, for me, if I got him, and you've been holding him on all year, one of my fantasy teams, I finally can use him. Jalen McMillan. Is that who you're talking
13,
about?
And number 13.
Mike Evans. Yeah. But I'm saying, for a guy who, like, you're starting Mike Evans no matter what, for a guy you could bring off the bench and potentially get off of waivers earlier this week, Jalen McMillan, fascinatingly, Griff, for fantasy football purposes, didn't perform when Evans and Godwin were out, did perform when Evans came back. He then usurped Cade Otton as Baker's number 2 target, is now a WR2 late in his rookie year. This guy is at the worst a flex spot right now. And if you're in a dynasty league, someone to look forward to going forward.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I also look at this too from a free agency perspective of like, is Chris Godwin back with the Buccaneers this year? Obviously, look, he's done for the year. His injury's there. But Mike Evans, one of the most underratingly consistent receivers of his career, always getting to 1,000 yards every single
Future
year.
Hall of Famer, no doubt.
1,000%. Got me a sweet total last week of where was he? 36 points in fantasy with a nice little 159 receiving.
36? Oh my God.
36.9. His projection was 14.
Nice.
But I like Jalen McMillan because here's the thing with how Tampa can operate this. You have Mike Evans. But then this week, too, Dallas is going to probably sell out, double coverage him, man zone, too high safety.
Yeah.
You have Jalen McMillan you can just toss out there for little crack screen plays, and he can just take the ball and then, pop off a couple fast yards there. So if you want daily fantasy tonight, if you need it for your playoffs, if you're in a real pickle of like, who do I start at wide receiver? Who do I put in my flex? Jalen McMillan's a really good guy to have there as well. Rookie out of Washington as well. Washington had a lot of good receivers this year. Unfortunately, Jalen Polk's not playing well, but yeah, Jalen McMillan, I completely agree with you. I know I have a friend, Alex, who's he's from the Seattle area, huge Washington Huskies fan, went to UW, and he was telling me that like he basically was giving me hints early on that like, hey, Jalen McMillan can be something for the Buccaneers. We saw it in flashes, but now that Mike Evans is back, he's kind of like that. I'll carry you to touchdowns and fantasy point lure. Yeah. And we've seen Mike Evans can be a guy of 3 catches, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, he can be that type of guy. Some injury updates. Tony Pollard's been questionable all week with the ankle for the Titans. Is going to play as of this morning. Looks like he is going to play. Something could always happen in the pregame workout. Keep track of that with the ankle. But Griff, we've seen for Tony Pollard, who on a horrendous Titans team has overall been pretty damn good fantasy-wise. If you have him as your RB2, he has been. Now he's giving you a couple clunkers, but overall has been reliable and a nice. All right, that's a guy I can count on for the most part. And you got Indianapolis. I think it's a decent matchup. You got Indy and Jacksonville as the last 2 games. Those are, as long as he can keep that ankle going, he's going to be pretty good. Tajay Spears, though, could steal some targets. We saw him have a really good game against the aforementioned Bengals last Sunday.
Yeah. He could. And if you can get Spears in there, I just feel Pollard's just more like Spears has to pop. I feel there's more of a consistent path for Pollard. You
know what this makes for a great what to do? Like how you and I work so well together. It's a great 1-2 stack.
Ooh, you could stack them?
Sure. I would do it if you're in the consolation bracket. I would not stack if you're going for a championship, though. I'm going to give that warning right now.
Yeah. If you got nothing to lose, consolate, go.
Or if in a 5th place game, something like that. Or even if you were to get to next week and you're in the 3rd place game, I would not trust the stack. I also have some questions to ask you because I have a prominent running back out for the semifinals. But
okay,
Alvin Kamara, he is not there.
I'm going Kendre Miller. Let's do
it. I have a couple other options available. I have, and I'm going to listen for you right now. Let's get to my roster. So I could go. Right now I have Travis Etienne and Ramondre Stevenson, or DeAndre Swift, or do I see if Miller's available on the waiver wire?
Okay, let's pull up old old Swifty here for a sec so I can get a little bit of an update. The Stevenson, I started the year. I just can't. I can't with him. Swift and Chicago playing Detroit. Let's get a look-see. Oh, boy. Yeah, he was popping early. He's had a month of under 10 fantasy points. Yee. That's not great for Swift. And your other options were who? You had Stevenson.
Well, right now I have Stevenson and ETN right now starting.
Yeah. I feel you. And you know what? Start of the year, I have a couple of those players in different situations on some of my teams too. But at the end, like he just hit double digit the last couple of weeks because of some catches. But it's Bigsby's team. I think we rolled the dice with Kendre Miller simply because who else are they getting the ball to? It's him and MVS. Yep. And then if is Taysom Hill even playing? That bum's always good to steal something.
He tore his ACL a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah, right. So he's out. Get out of here, Taysom. His last big game just devoured my Browns fantasy-wise, like 100 fantasy points. Bastard.
Yeah.
I think we go Kendre Miller, man.
Yeah, I think I'll go back later and then pick him up just because like I'm looking at it right now. I want to keep ETN in there just because Raiders defense is just, and especially with no Max Crosby, there's nothing there.
I would keep it like ETN over Stevenson.
Yeah.
In there. Is this for like playoff or is this consolation?
This is playoff.
Ooh, okay. Like, and the thing is with Miller, third game off of IR, right? So you hope he's got some legs back underneath him. Like it's lining up. Could he have a dud? Yeah, the Saints aren't very good, but everything is lining up as far as carries, getting back in the flow to have this actually work. We got another fantasy question coming in here from Joseph Arasatano. Joseph, good seeing you, buddy. Welcome. Who should I start an RB in my full PPR league? Pollard, Miller, Etienne, or BRJ, which I'm guessing is Brian Robinson.
I need to know.
Let's see. Okay. Personally, we just talked about Pollard. I like putting Pollard in there.
Yeah,
I do. I feel with Bigsby, Etienne is giving us like his ceiling right now is what he's gotten to the last couple of weeks, like 11 fantasy points. I'm just not feeling there's the ceiling there. And then Brian Robin, let me get a little
I'm trying to remember who Miller is.
Kendre Miller.
Oh, yes. I want to my head. I'm still waking up.
Yeah, he's so new still. And Brian, you know what? Brian Robinson Jr. Now, he's a bit of a feast or famine, right? He's got you 11.7 last week before the bye, 17.9. Now, those were against two bad teams. You're facing Philly. Last time he faced Philly, though, he did get you a touchdown, 14.2. I think we go with Pollard and Brian Robinson Jr. Again, I like the Miller option, but at least we've seen Brian Robinson do it a bit against his opponent and do it recently, whereas Miller, we're projecting a little bit here. What do you think, Griff?
Go with what you know. Don't go with what you don't know. That's what I'm going to say.
Especially
you know who's going to be good for you. Obviously, look, my situation is a little bit different because I have injuries, and Alvin Kamara he's a big fat O next to his name.
Yeah.
In this case right here, you go with what you know. You don't play the unknown, especially if Joseph's going for it all. If Joseph's in the that's what I want to know. If Joseph, are you in the semifinals right now? Because if you're in the semifinals, do as Andy says, start either Brian Robinson Jr. or Tony Pollard. If not, that's when maybe you can take the risk with Miller.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. What do you shoot us a note here, Joseph, if you can? Now I'm just seeing, did I get? Oh, good. You know what? My waiver thing went through for Miller in our league in my consolation bracket here. So I'm going to replace Aligier, who sent squat diddly for me. I'm getting Kendre Miller in there. There we go. Yeah. All right. What do we got? Semis. Okay, Joseph. Yeah, we got to go Brian Robinson Jr. here. Yeah.
I have another question for you about my semifinals in our league, my YWC Football Talk League.
What do we got?
Tim Patrick's available on the waiver wire, or I have Jawan Jennings at wide receiver.
Oh boy. Like I
Tim
kind
Patrick's
of want
been quietly stealing touchdowns the last few
weeks. I know with Detroit. That's weird. Like I kind of just want to stop thinking about the 49ers all year. Like they're just so maddening. Like I just kind of want to, I kind of want to just forget them. Okay, let's see here. We're playing Miami, 425 game. Jennings is healthy. Huge game 2 weeks ago against Chicago. That is between 3 single-digit performances.
But you got to remember,
boy.
last week was that disgusting Thursday nighter with the wet, pouring rain.
Yeah, that's almost like a wash. That's almost like you wipe it away. But in the 2 weeks before his big game, also pretty quiet, right? So, okay. So we know Jennings has produced for the 49ers. We know he has been a big part of the offense at times.
Yes.
And at times has not. Last 2 weeks in a row with Tim Patrick. I'm just like, I want to go with Tim Patrick. My fear is that it's like, okay, well, he's produced big the last 2 weeks, 3 touchdowns, but he could very unsurprisingly get 2 catches this week.
Literally,
how many weapons they have.
I'm looking at his game log, and literally the last 2 weeks are his only games where he's gotten above 10 points, let alone things. So he's in double digits. Also, looking at the weather report,
also touchdown dependent too.
I'm playing the world meteorologist right now, and for some of our American listeners, I'm going to go in Celsius, which Andy understands.
Yeah,
with my wife always thought you were from the States, but I told her yesterday that nope, you're not. You're Canadian like me.
Nope, that's right.
22 and cloudy at kickoff in South Beach. Little nicer weather than the cold we're getting up here, but I think I might have to stick Jennings. Because look at it. That offense didn't click last week. Miami's just like. They're in they're in the mud right now. They just like
they win out and have a bunch of things go their way.
Yeah. Meanwhile, San Francisco is just hope Seattle loses or the Rams slip up and you can quietly sneak back in there. The Niners have to win out and they just have to hope that one of Seattle or LA have to lose out, which the Seahawks have the Vikings today, and then the Seahawks and the Rams play each other week 18, which is going to make for quite the football game.
And Cardinals have the Panthers. Yeah.
Yes.
NFC West, they play each other all mix and match the last through. I think it's going to be a really interesting finish there. You know what? I'm going to be with you on Jennings. I think we say Jennings because he's had a more consistent. I always say opportunity equals success in fantasy football.
Yes.
Jennings has produced. He has had opportunities, and with their injury, should have more. Could Tim Patrick go off for another 2 touchdowns today? Sure. But he could also easily do what he's done the whole rest of the season and done like nothing. And what's concerning too with Tim Patrick, the yardage is down. If you take away those touchdowns, he's had like 30 and 43 yards. Like we're not talking about big production here.
It's red zone grabs. It happened last week against Buffalo.
Which is good.
It's good, but it's not
Can't
good
count
long term. Yeah,
No.
And here's the other thing too. For as bad as the Bears have been, they still have minus Tyreek Stevenson. They have a very good secondary with Jalen Johnson as well. So that's the other concern as well, is what's Jalen Johnson going to do today with like a guy like Amon-Ra St. Brown coming in, that's the other reason I don't want to pick up Tim Patrick, because guess who my wide receiver 1 is? It's Amon-Ra.
Oh, you don't want to eat eat yourself there.
No.
How about for our Browns here for a sec? Jerome Ford must start. I got him a couple weeks ago, right after that Chubb injury. And here's the issue which we talked about with Atlanta with Michael Penix Jr. Now we've seen DTR Dorian Thompson-Robinson in before. The trouble is, outside of literally 1 career game, he hasn't had a full week of preparation in his NFL career in 2 seasons, Griff. He's been thrown to the Wolves.
Yeah.
And the one time he had a half week he beat Pittsburgh, and then he had a full week, was looking good in Denver, then got hurt. So he hasn't been able to stay on the field or gets thrown in. So the question is, he's mobile. They're trying to have him work more from the pocket. There's some unknowns. What does that mean for Jerome Ford? We know with the Browns offense right now, which is just in flummox. They don't know whether they're coming or going. It's shotgun. It's this, that. Ford does offer upside in the passing game. We've seen that before.
Yep.
So I think if you need a RB2, Jerome Ford is a nice pick. I want to check real quick, Griff, on Cedric Tillman for the Browns, who's missed 3 games with concussion. He's out again? Come on, Ced. This is doing nothing for my 2 Cedric Tillman rookie cards, Griff. Nothing. It's not good for business. Good Lord. He's out again. Oh, my gosh.
With your team right here, this, like also too for a DraftKings spot, this is a great bounce back opportunity for the Browns. I don't want to slap on a winner, unfortunately, but I see a world where the game, and I know this was the game you were at in Cleveland, that this game goes a little bit better because you know what? It's Cleveland this, Cincinnati's because Cincinnati's in that same boat with like everyone else where it's like
you have to win out.
You have a chance, but when it's like every high school like comedy from like 20, 30 years ago. It's like you have a chance with the girl, and then it ends up to you getting embarrassed. Basically, caught with your pants around your ankles. That's because the Bengals too. This is a potential look ahead spot because guess who they have to play next Saturday? They got the Denver Broncos coming in.
who have been a shocker this year. Well, and for the Browns, it is something for this team to play for because you can eliminate a division rival. Myles Garrett recently has owned Joe Burrow. It is a bit of revenge potentially because they the Browns just beat themselves that game I was at. They let a kick return touchdown right off the bat. It was disgusting. But what does DTR do? Can he be healthy? That's a storyline as well to determine. And this is an important game for him, Griff, because it'll help determine if can he stay healthy for 3 straight games? 2, can he play well enough to earn to start for 3 straight games? And 3, where does that put him in the pecking order of the Browns depth chart next year? Can he be, because you need to go on the cheap, can he elevate to a backup, or is he going to be a 3rd string? He's going to be on the roster because of that cheap deal. Going to be interesting there. I think you play Jerry Jeudy no matter what, even though temper expectations because it is a different quarterback.
I know it's going to be cold in Cincinnati, but is there any expected craziness with the weather?
I don't believe so. We have 33 Fahrenheit, and sunny. So that's what, just under freezing, right? Or
just under freezing.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like anything crazy wind-wise. Yeah, this looks like a cold, sunny day.
Yeah.
Late December. It's pretty good.
I had the same thing going right now in the wonderful suburb of Buffalo in Orchard Park. For those folks who don't know, that's where the Bills play. Ooh, I am so glad I am not going to this game today. It is going to be minus 13 Celsius.
Gross. 15 Fahrenheit. Oh, my gosh. At least no snow. It looks cloudy. Doesn't look like it's snowy.
Yeah, but as much as I would love to see Drake play in person, I was always comfortable not this week. No, I would have had a wonderful chance to have gone and watched 2 different teams of mine play on the road in Buffalo. Because for those folks who don't know out there, the Leafs were there Friday night and got a win. And then today would have been this. The weather was better. If the Patriots were better, I would probably stomach it. But the fact that the Patriots are 3-11 and the Bills are 11-3 and going for it, not worth it. Not worth it.
No, and Bills fans are not great winners and pretty sore losers in person too. There's a lot. I know there's a lot of drunk people at like most NFL games if you sit in the wrong section.
Yeah.
From the one game I went down to, but years ago with the Johnny Manziel game, that's an unpleasant group. They'll end up fighting themselves too. It's kind of outrageous. They spend their food stamp money and get the tickets, but it's a little nuts down there in Buffalo. Fun team to watch though. Yeah, and we'll you know what, we'll build up in a few minutes the ticket there, that 14 points. See what we like there. I'm just checking injury wise. Zach Ertz is going to play today, and he has sneakily been good for Washington. He had a concussion, so we had to watch that. But he's going to be in. I'm lighting that up. If I can get myself some Zach Ertz, put him in there for tight end, I think he's looking good.
One person, he's not available anywhere, but if you have him, please, for the love of God, start him because he's probably going to go off today because he was quiet last week. But that's number 26 on Philly. Barkley's going to be barking.
Oh, Barkley's 26. Yeah.
He's the reason why in our league I got into the semis because he only had I think 12 or 13 points last week. Or it was, no, it was 9. I think Pittsburgh really contained him last week, and last time he played Washington, he went ballistic.
Yeah, and I'm looking here for I don't know if you guys saw this. Let's bet against the Saints here. Either all the money and or the fantasy side outside of Miller, because I think you'll get Spencer Rattler is starting. He blows. And 2, the quarterback coach Andrew Jonico took Spencer Rattler and the rest of the quarterbacks into a walk-in freezer in the team's cafeteria Saturday to run through plays to prepare for Lambeau. They're toast.
The Saints, even with Drew Brees, have never naturally been a good cold weather team.
No, they're a dome team.
Tomorrow's forecast at kickoff is looking around -1. So they're going
that's at
to
night too.
It's at night. It's Christmas. It's Lambeau. But here's the thing, though. I think the Packers win, but when I see spreads that high, part of me is just but I'm getting that second doubt because even yesterday too, where all 3 college football games are massive spreads. Guess what? Here's the thing, all 4 games actually, go back to Friday, all 4 teams covered as favorites.
Interesting. When you get to cold weather, you're right, because it can be, you ground and pound a little bit more. Doesn't necessarily lend itself to high flying, right? Yeah.
Rattler doesn't have to get out there and do it. Even yesterday too, you had the video of Tennessee running out in the cold, and then you realized, oh, hey, you can't play 60 minutes in the cold. But it's tough because there's part of me that's like the Saints could cover the spread or keep the back door open because they almost won outright last week. They covered the 7.5 number against a really good Commanders team. But for this game here, it's really tough to get a gauge on just because it's the cold weather. But then that walk-in freezer report really is a red flag. That's a huge red flag for spread.
Yeah, when you see that, it's like, we're toughened up. We're in the freeze. It's like, oh, you poor fools. Go back to your little dome. Go back to your little dome, your little roof. You'll be safe there. This is not your week. This could be the 14, but I'm totally with you in the cold stuff. It gets a little dicey. Let's just see a couple more injury thing if anything else pops up. Let's see. Nothing too crazy. We got Pollard. If you want to play Tyrone Tracy for the Giants, he's questionable. Ankle is expected to play. Tyreek Hill, questionable wrist injury, is expected to play. Yeah, that's really nothing too like surprising fantasy injury wise, which I guess is good.
Yes, and I'm also scrolling through my X feed right now, and I'm not really seeing much of injury stuff on there either.
No.
Most of the reports won't come out for about another 50 minutes or so at 11:30. So if you're in the semifinals, please keep your eyes out for 11:30.
I got burnt, dude. I got burned in one of my leagues because Ladd McConkey, they were playing the later game. You said it, you set the line, you see, you get busy. It's like, yep, questionable, but it's going to play. Guy sat. I was like, out. I'm looking, I'm like, no. And I lost by like the amount of points that Ladd McConkey probably would have gotten me. Furious.
Have you ever done the 12:58? Like, oh crap, you got to get on the phone, and then you're like, press the button just in time.
Yeah. You're just like, oh no, hurry. Oh my gosh. Yeah. All right. Well, you know what? Let's build out this little ticket here, and let's do some DraftKings Sick Picks.
It's time for Sick Picks. Brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours.
And we're starting that parlay party, Griff. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay, let's build a nice little ticket here, folks. Okay, get your pen, papers ready. And if you got some bets, we always love to hear from you. Jumping in, see what we got. You know what? Let's start at the top here. Let's go. Browns, Bengals, 9.5 point favorite Bengals. I think the Browns cover that. I don't like that 9.5 spread.
Sorry, I had to get a drink in, but I completely agree with you. I think 9.5. I was saying that if a divisional favorite is a favorite of 7 or more, you go with the dog.
Yep. And here's another thing to keep in mind. So Jamar Chase has been red hot. Denzel Ward, who is the only real, the Browns are down
super underrated player on that team.
Well, he's sensational, and he has locked down Jamar Chase for his career. Now, the Browns are down to Cameron Mitchell, and you got rookie Myles Garrett coming in to cover for Greg Newsome and Martin Emerson.
Yeah.
So could actually be better days for like a T. Higgins, but I just want to look receiving props. I might take an under on receptions for Jamar Chase here because people are going to be lighting up. Like receiving yards, they have over 90.5. Let's see what the better thing is. I would take under that. That's minus 110. Let's see what the reception is here. Jamar Chase. Where are you? Where are you, buddy boy?
Let me open up my DraftKings receptions.
Let's see. Jamar Chase, over or under 7.5. Now, the under is 146. So we get a better line on the receiving yards. I'm taking under 90.5 in that game.
Don't let the books fool you. That's the thing I'm going to say right now. When the books say something like that, that's usually a little bit of an indicator that they're on to something. Yeah. So go with, look, I don't like to bet against an under like that too often, but you gotta, you know what, when it's that heavy of a line, you gotta lean it.
And historically, we've seen it. Like as long as Denzel Ward stays on the field and shadows him, which he should and has, that makes sense. Okay, let's do Eagles Commanders here. Eagles on the road. In Washington, 4.5 point favorites. We have the over-under set at 46.5. This could be a fun, light it up, sit back and watch. I hope it is.
You can't see it fully because the screen's too small. This is one of my best bets on my parlay this week. I have Eagles. I actually got them at minus 3.5. I think, look, they've been looking good. Well, I know Washington's there too, but in reality, after what happened last week with the Commanders, I can't really trust them because, like, okay, look, they looked good against a really bad Saints team with Jake Haener, who you can't play a quarterback. But the fact that they nearly let them come back and win, that's a big red flag. Eagles, to have the chance to wrap it all up today with the division, I think they get it done. One other thing I'll say, too, with the whole Jamar Chase point as well, when you see a line skewed one way in a different direction, it's going to make people go, oh, I can get the over at great value. I'm going to go do it. and then that's where they get you. That's where the
That's where they
books get you.
That's where they get you. Yeah.
So here's what I would do today. I would build a same game parlay actually with this game. I would go. Here's what I would do. I would go Eagles for the sake of this show. Eagles -4.
Now, do you want to do alternate spread? I can get, it's not great, but I got 3.5 at -390 now. Would you go with that 4.5? It's not a great number, but
I mean, it's okay. Here's what I would do though. On DraftKings, it's available at +278. Philadelphia -4. Saquon Barkley touchdown. Saquon Barkley 100+ yards.
Ooh, okay, we're going base. Okay. Let's let me get that going here. Okay, so we got Saquon anytime.
Yep.
And then you're like in rushing.
100 yards rushing. He went psychotic in this game last time. He's done really well against the for the most part, he's done great against the NFC East as well. Giants, he lit them up. He lit up the Commanders last time they played. That was about a month ago. And today's a real, because that's what I'm bouncing on. I'm bouncing on him having a bounce back, and I'm setting a lot of people that may have had him to like get into the semifinals, and that cost them. This is the game where everyone's gonna be like, God damn, Saquon, where were you last week?
Where were you? Yeah. Over 94.5 yards at -110. Okay, we'll lock it in. Let's do it. Boy, Giants Falcons. Do we? I don't want to touch that game with Penix in there. I don't know, but except if it's maybe a Bijan bet.
Falcons -8.5. I'm telling you right now, the spread's lowering because they don't know what the quarterback's going to do. You fade the Giants until they prove you to do something, which they haven't done all year. You fade the Giants.
Yeah, that's. Boy,
I wouldn't bet it. That's just the pick I'm giving. I would not put my actual hard-earned Canadian currency on that. That's just advice from.
We're not going to put that in our parlay party.
No,
that's right. No. We're not going to put that in there. But if you need to bet that game for some reason, you can. Titans, Colts, that's another stinker. I don't really want to. You got to feel that I don't like that.
I would just go Colts. I would just keep it simple. Go Colts. They're the team that look. The Colts are your drunk uncle at Christmas dinner, where 1 minute they're fine, and then the next minute they're on the
off the rails.
They're off the rails, and you can't get them.
They're talking politics. You don't know what's happening. Yeah,
they slip in a comment that's borderline offensive.
Right. It's like, I was joking. It's like, all right, Uncle. Okay.
All right, Uncle Tom.
All right, Uncle Tom. Detroit, Chicago, Lions only 6.5-point favorites. I know they have a lot of injuries and it's a division game, but only 6.5? Like, you're telling me Lions can't beat the Bears by a touchdown?
I am holding in my hand. I hold a metaphorical hammer.
Okay.
Hammer that. Hammer 6.5. This is a Lions bounce back spot. I've spent too many weeks thinking this is where the Bears get right. This is where the Bears do this. And every time they've burned. This is the game that the Lions put their footprint back on the NFL. Because you know what everyone's thinking right now? Oh, the Lions are in a down spot. They looked like weird last week. Dan Campbell won't make the same stupid mistakes twice. This is where I worry too with as someone who's playing in our league. I'm playing Jahmyr Gibbs in the semifinals. So I would buy into him because, look, there's no David Montgomery there anymore for the rest of the year. He's done with the torn MCL.
Yes.
This is
Jahmyr Gibbs day.
I think it's either one of two things. Because remember, on my show, I said to you, Lamp Laporta, Thanksgiving MVP. Gibbs or Laporta are the two players I'd buy stock into potentially. But parlay party it up, I think Lions 6.5 gets the job done.
We're smashing it. Getting the hammer out, we're smashing it. Also, I think the smash, Rams at New York to play the Jets at 3 points. I'll take Rams by 3. They need to keep winning. Aaron Rodgers, they've been playing a bit better. They've been throwing a bit better. Rams need to win. The cross-country thing isn't as big of a deal as it used to be. They're in private jets. They're fine. They're not walking to New York, okay? I'm smashing the Rams. You agree?
Yeah, I agree with that too. Because my big thing as well is if you look at who the Jets have beaten this year, apart from the Texans, the other 3 wins were the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Mac Jones Jacksonville Jaguars, the New England Patriots with Jacoby Brissett, and then the Titans week 2 with Will Levis. So there's not a signature win on their schedule. This is the game the Rams desperately need to stay alive and keep afloat. I like Rams -3. I've said it from the jump. I know a lot of people worry about the cross country stuff, but look, this is one of those.
And they have to win.
You know what this is? This is a moment where it's like, for the normal person, it's like, why is the spread this? It's only 3. The Jets are terrible. But then for that person who's looking for that little fun, they're going to go, oh, the Jets, hey, they did it last week. They'll do it again. This is where the buck stops. Because if you look at these games too, this is that game that everyone thinks that the Jets win, but the Jets don't win this game.
No. The Aaron Rodgers Jets do not win this game. A couple more for the parlay party. Minnesota Vikings into Seattle to take the Seahawks. Now the Seahawks are in that dogfight of an NFC West. They need to win. 2.5 points only for the Vikings. Am I missing something, Griff? We're doing skull?
Skull.
Skull it up.
Money line, Minnesota Vikings. It's probably around minus 150 right now. So I think it's good because if you also saw what happened last week as well, Packer fans took that stadium over. Buffalo Bills fans a couple months ago took that stadium over. That stadium doesn't have that same threatening allure that it did 10 years ago when the Legion of Boom was wreaking havoc. I think Minnesota, because here's the thing too, and I know everyone's waiting for Minnesota to turn back into a pumpkin. Geno Smith's turning back into a pumpkin.
He's really come back down, which is sort of a warning cry to anybody who wants to spend a ton of money on Sam Darnold, right? Just saying. Both former Jets find some success. We get the better line on Minnesota. We get minus 110 instead of minus 142 for Minnesota 2.5. Want to do that?
Yeah, you know what? Do the minus 2.5 because at least that covers that. If they win by a field goal, you're covered with that thing.
Then you're fine.
So my parlay on my videos that I post on my socials every week, I did the Philadelphia spread. I got 3.5. I did the Lions at 6.5, and I did the Vikings money line. That's what I did. Because last week with the as well, we know Minnesota's got a good defense. We know Brian Flores is good at scheming stuff up. Jeff Halpley really neutralized Geno Smith and that entire Seattle Seahawks offense.
Yep.
Minnesota's because that's the thing too. Because say for example, if Detroit doesn't win today, that opens the door for the Vikings. The Vikings are in week 18. Vikings go to Detroit to play the Lions.
Oh wow, best division in football, man.
Yeah.
Let's add 2 more to the parlay party, then we'll wrap it up. I want to do Buccaneers Cowboys. 3.5 points. Baker into Dallas. They can wrap that division up essentially, not officially, but pretty much. 3.5 or money line minus 198. Cooper Rush and the Cowboys, while not scary, have at least last week gone with the strategy of run it a lot and target CD Lamb a lot, which makes them not dangerous, but at least, puncher's chance perhaps. Because the Buccaneers, much as I love Baker, they are also prone to some, kind of let down ones.
I like the Buccaneers here, but there's a bet I like that's better value than that.
Okay, what do we like?
It's Sunday Night Football. It's Christmas time. Santa's coming down the chimney. And what does he have in his sack? He has that over. Tampa's defense is not good. Dallas's defense is not that good. These are two offenses that are, I know it's Cooper Rush, but like we said, just get the CD Lamb, just dump it off to Rico Dowd, who's been pretty good lately.
Been pretty good, actually, yeah.
You dump it off to those gentlemen. You have Mike Evans, you have Bucky Irving, you have Rashad White, you have Jalen McMillan, you have Kate Otten too. Also, you have Jake Ferguson in there as well. This is the kind
over
of game,
47.5?
that is my favorite number to bet because all you need from each team is 3 touchdowns and a field goal each. That's not asking for a lot.
No, that's pretty doable.
This game could be like a 27-24 kind of football game. We're not asking each team to go out there and score 30 points each. No.
I think that's very reasonable. I think that's a reasonable get. Okay, we'll do that.
Even if it settles to field goals and it's like 23-23, guess what? You're guaranteed to win. 23-23 is 46. 46 plus 3 is 49. That is a greater number than, and unless I checked, I'm not that good at math, but 9's a greater number than 7. So simple math.
Correct.
47.5. Lock it in.
Lock it in. I'm going to add on to it the Buccaneers money line minus 198. I believe in Bake.
I do too.
One more. What do you want? You want Bills Pats? You want Niners Dolphins? The Saints Packers minus 1,000 for a straight up Packers win. Outrageous. Give me one more. What game do you want?
Give me my Patriots at plus 14.
Ooh,
give it to me. I know
14.5 right now.
Here is the thing with that. 90% of the money is coming in on the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills have been the NFL's unstoppable force for a very long time.
Yeah. This
spot, and this is copium for the Patriots fans, this is a chance for Drake May to really show the world, because not even Bills fans know what is Drake May made out of. This is the time for him to go in there and show the world, because this is his first time playing in a true, I know he played in the London game, but like not everyone's watching that game at 9:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
This is 425. This is Ian Eagle. This is Charles Davis. This is Brad Allen as the referee. We have had a lot of bad referees the last few weeks.
Oh my gosh, we have, yeah.
But with the game like this is a chance for him to go out and show the world. Part of me is very tempted too. It's plus 750 for them on the money line. Crazier things have happened.
Ooh.
And here's the other thing too.
Maybe a standalone bet.
That would be a standalone bet. Do not parlay that. I might standalone bet it just because I'm crazy and I love my boys.
Why not?
But here's the thing. Eventually, Buffalo's due for a stinker. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Josh Allen scored all these 30-point games. It's crazy. He's just going off and off and off. I know New England isn't good, but eventually, look, clock strikes midnight on everyone's season because you got to remember, there's 32 teams. Only one team will be on top of that stage in New Orleans come February 9th. That's the thing. For Josh Allen, too, like I said, everyone's talking about, too, they have the easy schedule because they have to play the Patriots twice, which I find really weird that we haven't played them yet this year at all. And they play the Jets, and they play the Jets next week. I know Buffalo lost a few weeks, but even still, in Buffalo in defeat, they still put up 40 points against the Rams.
I know.
It's been too long since they've not allowed 30 points. I can even see this game being like a 30-20 game, and the back door's there. But like I said earlier,
6.5 line.
With the weather, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it with the weather.
Good call with the weather. Okay.
With the weather, I know it was really, and Bills fans love to bring this game up, the game that they whooped our ass in the wild card round a few years ago, the 47-17 game.
Right.
But the difference between this and that game is just that was a night playoff game, and I basically equated that game to little brother finally gets his comeuppance on big brother. Yeah. But no, this is, like I said, this is a chance for Drake May to truly show the world what he's about more than anything, and because more people are going to be paying attention to Josh Allen and that, and also too, if I can ride off into the sunset of the offseason with costing them the 1 seed, most Patriot fans will be happy with that.
That helped, just like the Browns eliminating the Bengals. Gives us bad teams a little bit of joy to play a little Grinch on these guys. All right, so I got this 12-leg parlay, Griff. Ooh. That's a plus 25,035. If we put a $5 on that, we win $1,251.78.
You got to pay for the Christmas presents, folks.
How about it?
Yes.
Huh? Who's with me? What if we put 10? That's 25. Oh boy, yeah. Okay, we'll stick with 5. Let's not get too nuts. Let's not get too crazy, kids. All right. Let's not get too nuts. Griff, great stuff, buddy. Tell people where they can find your show and all your great stuff there.
Yes, sir. Some YWC football talk is released. It's kind of weird. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing this week, but we are always on. We're on Acast. We're on Apple. We're everywhere you can get a podcast. Also on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, YWC Football Talk, every single week. Instagram, Twitter, Mr. Griff B. That's where all my fun betting stuff and just life in general happens. But if you really just want to be a part for the fun and the betting, Griff Sports Talk on TikTok. I'm here, there, everywhere. Patriots, CFL, sports gambling, no matter the sport, I'm here for the fans. I also appreciate you letting me give my little impassioned monologue about why I somehow think the Patriots are going to cover and potentially beat a couple of Bills.
Hey, man.
Christmas miracles happen, baby.
Fan, but you never know.
Yeah.
You never, ever know when it comes to division games. Griff, great stuff, my friend. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. There, look at that. Old school one. Happy holidays, my friend.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to you too, Andy, as well. Have a good one, guys. Let's win some money today. We got to pay for those Christmas gifts.
Go Pats and go Browns. How about it?
Yes, sir.
Let's go. Okay, buddy. We'll talk to you later. Thank you.
Fire the muskets. Here comes the dog pound.
There he goes. At Mr. Griff B on X. Always love having Griff on. And you know what, folks? The NFL season is rolling along. It's almost done. And the contenders are separating from the pack. The one thing that hasn't changed, though, this season, the DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Number one place to bet, touchdowns. And we don't care how they get them. We want to bet on touchdowns. And DraftKings is the best place to do it. Here's the reason for new customers to do a touchdown dance of their own. You bet $5, you get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins. If your bet wins, $5 gets you $150. Score big with the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Let's see right on the screen. 6 sports. Put that in, you get your bonus. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the code 6sports. That's code 6sports for new customers. Get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Well, here's a bit of news, Browns fans. Quarterback Bailey Zappi is the Browns' number 2 today, behind Dorian Thompson-Robinson. This coming from Tony Grossi and Mary Kay Cabot, ahead of Jameis Winston, who is questionable with a sore shoulder. Oh, baby, we are one snap away from seeing Bailey Zappi and a 4th Browns quarterback, and why the hell wouldn't we have that in this season, right? Why not? This is the 15th season since 1999, guys. 15th time that the Browns will have played 3 or more quarterbacks in the same season. Not a recipe for success. Not a surprise why we only have 3 playoff appearances since 99. So Bailey Zappi. Oh, my gosh. Okay. Hey, you know what? He beat the Browns. I was at that game. We were down a few years ago. Bailey Zappi and the Pats were like, we'll get him. Yeah. He beat us, but Bailey Zappi, I don't know. Our buddy Tony Grossi says Winston's shoulder injury in quotation spared Browns from insulting him with demotion to number 3. Bailey Zappi moved to QB2. Yeah. Okay. So Bailey Zappi, 1 play away. See what DTR can do. I think Myles Garrett gets 2 sacks and they grind out a dog of a fight and eliminate the Bengals from the playoffs. Would I put that in our parlay party? No. I'd put it in a standalone bet. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think, does good enough. 1 touchdown, no interceptions, rushes a little bit, and the Browns tweak 1 out. Give us a little happiness for Christmas, Brad. Come on, right? After that week. And Myles Garrett, I think, boy, when he's motivated, remember that TJ Watt game? He sends a message. He is going to want to feast on Joe Burrow, who openly fears him. Myles Garrett, 2 sacks at least. He goes over 100 for his career with that and continues his march for a 2nd straight Defensive Player of the Year. All right, guys, if you have any more fantasy football questions, hit me up on X at SickPodBrowns, at AndyMC81. Use hashtag AskAndy. Instagram too, at AndyMCSports. Click subscribe here. Notifications on this podcast, wherever you get podcasts. Get the audio version, video version right here, and everywhere else. Spotify, everywhere you can get a podcast there. So thank you very much. We'll be back, have an episode before Christmas as well. Get you all holiday set and see how this one goes. So thank you so much to our guest Griff, to producer Shane, and to all of you. Get your ugly Christmas sweaters on today. Have some fun. And as always, go Browns!
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Andy McNamara on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.